like it's about to go down.
G'day and welcome back to Pub for Heretics. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of the Primarchs, but we're going to be starting off with doing the Loyalists. First off, like and subscribe. This is one of your co-hosts, Blake.
This is James.
Yeah, and I'm Corbin.
And here we are about to descend into the debate that is going to be fun.
Oh yeah,
We're seeing a lot of problems already, Corbin.
well, just like every other person who has ever talked Warhammer with their friends, we have very different opinions on, especially the Primarch. Shit's about to be a lot of arguing, but it'll be a fun time, like it always is.
That's why we're breaking it up between the Heretics and the Loyalists. But also as well, we're going to take the advice from our previous episodes on when we did the tier list from people in the comments. We're going to, if we highly disagree and we believe that one is lower and one's upper, then we're going to try and find the middle ground and put them where the general median would be.
Wait, we listen to comments?
I do. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about you.
No, I don't.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. So, numero uno, who is going to also be the subject of our next episodes, Lionel Johnson, the Dark Angel himself.
Yep.
First off, Corbin, where do you think?
Well, see, this is a tricky one because
I know we start off with a tricky one already.
Because in 30k, he kind of is just like shit. He's like a whingy little like control freak, but he's a lot cooler in 40k. So
I think same with Guilliman. We should judge them on both as a character, like as a whole character. So
yeah, so
Like 30 and 40.
well,
yeah, 30 and 40. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to for the ones that are around in 40k anyway. But
Yeah, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
I would put him in mid or pretty good, probably mid.
I would put him in either legendary or pretty good. So are you okay with pretty good?
Pretty good works.
Yeah, pretty good works. Now, James, where would you want him to go? These we didn't ask your opinion.
Yeah.
I have one complaint. Trash needs to be cringe.
All right, changing it.
What? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
What about Lionel Johnson? What's your opinion? You've actually got his mini and I don't.
I do. I mean, I don't know a ton about him. I just liked the mini. So, I mean, pretty good. I think that's a pretty good spot to put it.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
That one.
I mean, his mini's pretty good. So, like,
I said, as I said in the other Guilliman episode, I prefer his mini over Guilliman's. I understand why you guys like Guilliman more, but I think they really ramped it up with his mini.
don't you swear at me like that? Like, I like.
Now, I personally really like Lionel Johnson, and it might be interesting when we get into his episode and see how your opinion forms of him. But what do you actually think of him so far, James, with not knowing much?
I mean, yeah, I don't really know much. I just know, like, off his mini and off that, I know that he's come back in 40k, so I don't know where he disappeared in, you know, the Horus Heresy and stuff like that. But from what I know, like, he seems like a lot of people seem to like him, so he must be like a pretty popular character. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't find him. Like, here's the thing. I've moved away from thinking about characters in good and evil and liking them for being good or evil. I like characters now because of how interesting they are. And I genuinely do think Lion is one of the more interesting Primarchs, especially when you read his book, his Primarch book, and the first Horus Heresy books.
It's hard to do that, but because, like, if the character seems like pretty good, but they have like really crap stories, like, or they just don't have any stories, it's hard to go off that. So that's why I base mine on, like, how the mini looks, and like, I don't know
just their aesthetic,
yeah, just like from the aesthetic, it's a pretty good looking mini.
That's fair.
I don't know how he operates in the game because I haven't played Dark Angels or anything, but
yeah,
he seems pretty popular.
Yeah, he is. Any last words before moving on to
last words?
No.
For Corbin, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, no. Not really. He's not my favorite, but, you know, I can kind of see that, you know, I know a lot of people like him, but I think he's a bit of a shitter and not very interesting. but that's just my opinion.
No, that's fair. So yeah, he's now the first. Third's Fulgrim. Fourth is Petrarabo. Fifth is the Khan.
The
Jaghatai Khan.
The Khan.
Now, first things first. What do you know about the Khan, James?
Khan. That's
Yeah,
right.
apart from Khan, yeah, he's the leader of the White Scars.
I know him from Star Trek. I don't know anything about him in 40k. I mean, isn't he the Mongolian dude?
Wait,
Name.
what's his picture? Oh, his head's cut off. That's why I couldn't see him.
Yeah. I was about to say that's him right there.
I know. I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because I don't know a ton about like the Imperium. I mainly know Chaos.
Okay.
But I mean, if he's anything like Genghis Khan and like the Mongolians,
Imagine a nicer Genghis Khan
nicer.
Yep.
I mean,
who actually cares about the people.
He really cares about humans, but they also
Cares about his men a lot.
they are renowned for laughing maniacally as they ride their bikes into battle at top
Oh.
speed.
They are called the Laughing Killers.
Yeah,
they're the bikies. Okay, I'd
Hmm.
I'd say they're pretty good. I'd
Gone by
say
that.
at least pretty good.
the
Okay,
Khan
so
is
Corbin,
also
where would you put him?
The Khan is a sick duelist. He's one of my favorite Primarchs. I think
He's the one that killed Mortarion.
Yeah, battled Mortarion, even demon corrupted Mortarion. Like he
Oh.
held his own. He is an absolute badass. He's also
Mm.
he's a good guy. He's interesting. I really like him. I think he would be god tier.
I'd say he's weirdly based, in terms of the lore and how he interacts. I personally would either put him just somewhere in legendary, like top or middle legendary, I would say.
I can do legendary. I can
Mm.
I can have him in legendary.
I don't
Yeah.
have enough of an opinion. A legendary is fine for me.
Yeah,
Cool.
just because I'm also because in terms of how I'm thinking of it, like in matters of achievement, impact, aesthetic, how they interact with the others. I'm trying to go through all of these things as I'm categorizing them,
Yeah.
and yeah, I'd be okay with him being in the top 3 somewhere, like with God tier legendary or pretty good.
Yeah.
But I can also see why people put him in mild or lame, just because simply there's not that much about him apart from books in the Horus Heresy.
Well, because he's not back in 40k, so we can't judge him off that.
Exactly.
But bring him back, GW. Bring him back and give me a sick ass model, please.
Totally. I would love to see what that would be.
A Primarch on a bike? Give me a Primarch on a bike.
That's actually an interesting point. A Primarch in a vehicle.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
I
I don't have any strong opinions on him, to be perfectly honest.
I would also like to put my 2 cents in, and this is for the editor, aka Blake.
Hmm.
I would like to see I would like to see how these tier lists end up with how we said that their armies were. Like, I was just thinking about it. Like, I don't know where we put White Scars in our
I remember
tier list.
we only had 5 tiers, if I remember right, but I think they were mid, just above Ultramarines, if I remember right.
No, they were in they were second highest, the White Scars.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we'll check that out. We can compare after the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Add it up.
So,
Put that
yeah.
in.
so moving on from number 5, we're now going on to number 6, Leman Russ of the Space Wolves.
Ooh. God
Yeah.
tier.
Space Wolves.
Vikings, God tier.
And he's also just such a hilarious character. Like he's really funny in his books. He's he's a really interesting guy. He's absolutely badass. He literally fought into hell to get a spear to fight Horus with. I reckon God tier.
Personally, James, what do you think?
He's Ragnar and Thor put into one. Like, he's God tier.
Yeah, he is.
I would either say legendary or god tier, just because, yeah.
Okay, so
I think all
majority
3 of us are
rules.
still on
Majority
god tier,
rules.
yeah. It's the same thing with the fucking Space Wolves.
Yeah. Well, the Space Wolves.
So my two cents is that Leman Russ is a really interesting character because he was the second one found after Horus. So he is in a sort of way like the second son, And like when Horus and the Emperor found Leman Russ in the snow with his wolves, and Horus just turned and was like, "Do we really need to find all my brothers?"
Yeah. And the Emperor challenged him to like 3 competitions, and it was like a drinking competition, an eating competition, and what was the third one?
Wasn't it a fighting or a strength competition?
It was like a strength or a fighting competition, yeah. And the only
And
other
he beat him
Primarch...
all 3 times, didn't he?
Yeah, I think. Oh no, I think the eating and drinking was like they called it a tie or something like that, and then he beat him in the
That's
strength
it, yeah.
competition. And then
Yeah.
but Leman was like, you're somebody I could definitely serve under.
Respected him on that sort of thing. So I think because of the whole Viking aesthetic, and I actually genuinely enjoyed his books. I haven't read his Primarch book yet, and I don't really know that too much about his background. But just like, what's not to like?
I'm kind of excited to learn more
about Leman Russ.
Yeah, and
Wait till you hear about the Wolfen.
I think you and I would have to do a coin toss to figure out who does his episodes, because I'm just as excited.
I know.
one do the Primarch, one do the
The
army.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad way of doing it. So yeah, we settled that one pretty easily.
Yeah. Actually, this is going a lot smoother than I thought.
This is a lot quicker than what we thought. I think the thing is because a lot of our conversations that we've already had about this, we've had in the previous episodes.
Yeah.
Which you can also find on our channel. But like again, because the Legion is informed by the Primarch, it's just a little bit easier because you're talking about both for the most part.
Wait till we get to the heretics. Then
that's where it's getting. That's where it gets interesting. But like, here's the thing: like people, I think Leman Russ operates in both ends of the spectrum, where he is equally based but is equally cringe because he leans into that Viking wolf aesthetic so much, and they've got 14 units in their army with the word wolf in it.
Yeah, but it's also kind of funny. Like it's a levity, like the orcs.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Is that I think that it goes from base to cringy, and then it circles all the way back around being based again, to being likable, because of how they lean into the aesthetic. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was your favorite Assassin's Creed, wasn't it?
It's pretty high up there. I liked Black Flag.
As did everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're all good with him being in God tier.
Yeah.
Well, then it'd be the bestest Primarch of all time, number 7, Dorn, Fist of the Imperium, Praetorian of Terra. Far right, next to Guilliman.
Yeah, I know. The self-flagellator himself.
Yes, absolutely. Because no one else can do it to him. Because he's too good.
Magic paint.
I want to hear what everybody else thinks beforehand, before I give my piece.
Well, I know where you'd put him, but James, what do you reckon?
Based on what you've heard.
Who is he again? Which one? Which army?
I'll come after you, I swear to God.
He's the Imperial Fist. He wears all gold.
The cringe dude.
He's kind of got that drip.
Guy all about walls.
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty lame, but I don't think Blake's going to let us put it there.
You do know I can jump through this fucking computer and chase after you, you know that, right?
Love to see it. I don't know. I don't know enough about him, but just a dude about walls seems a bit boring to me, but...
Like, are you being legit, or are you just trying to piss me off? Because I can't tell.
A bit of column A, a bit of column B. I legitimately don't know enough about him, and a dude about walls is a bit cringe. But...
He has weaponized autism.
What?
He doesn't. He
does.
Yeah, fucking... If he's got autism, so's Guilliman.
Yeah, but at least Guilliman's practical about it.
Still Dorn. He's
And-
more practical about it than Guilliman.
No, but Guilliman is practical and theoretical about it.
So, right. Yeah, you landed that,
No.
didn't you?
All right, yeah. So, I want to put Dorn in, like, high pretty good, except he backhanded my boy Garrow and just was like could not accept the fact that Horus had turned, even though everyone kept telling him Horus has turned. He's a bit stuck in his ways. He's probably top of pretty good for me.
He's got that drip.
Okay.
He's got solid gold
This is
armor.
my argument. This is my reasoning. I argue that he is in God tier for the simple reason that he's one of the few Primarchs to kill another Primarch, and then on top of that, he is also the last man standing, the last Primarch standing at the end of the Siege of Terra. He was literally the only Primarch left standing, and even the Emperor died and he didn't. And then on top of that, if it wasn't for him and Perturabo, the whole Siege of Terra and Horus Heresy would have fallen on its ass if it wasn't for him. And
I like it.
But we wanted the Emperor to fall.
I know you wanted the Emperor to fall, but because of Dorn making it so difficult for you, like I believe that is worthy of respect in God tier.
He's stubborn.
Yeah, he's stubborn, and he's turned it into a power. Good on him.
I mean, he was a bit of a dick to Corax
When
and Deliverance Lost.
here's the thing: in that exchange, like when Corax came back from the ESFN 5 massacre, I think it was because Dorn expected him just to be here with him, and then he realized that he put that expectation of what he would do onto Corax, and then realized that towards the end of their exchange, he realizes that I can't really impose how I would do things on you because we're two very different people.
Well, the Emperor actually has to intervene for him to.
Yeah, the Emperor intervened. Yeah, and then Dorn realized what happened.
Because he basically threatens Corax.
Hmm.
And then the Emperor's like, no, I have things that Corax must do. And Dorn's like,
and then he realizes that,
fuck, Dad told me no.
That's a bit of a simplification of things, but yeah, sure.
I mean, I am wrapping up like a whole chapter there, basically, in a summary, but...
Of a good dialogue between two Primarchs that do things differently. I just think that he gets a lot of crap for being the most competent of the Loyalists, in my opinion, next to Guilliman.
Damn, I don't know if I'd call him the most competent. I think...
Definitely. I think he's right up there with Guilliman, if not better than Guilliman.
I think they're competent in different things, and that's why the Emperor brought him back. That's why he was the one at Terra. Because he's really good at that one thing, which is like fortifying. But I wouldn't say that.
What a thing to be good at.
I wouldn't say he's the most competent, though.
I would argue he is. Because, here's the argument, is that Dorn... here's the thing. If you had Guilliman leading the Siege of Terra and the defenses, do you think it would have lasted as long?
Yep.
I doubt it. Doubt it highly.
No.
It would have lasted second longest, but not as long.
No, because Guilliman had an army that was like 3 times the size of Dorn's. He probably would have done a better job.
I doubt that highly because it's not about the men, it's about the walls, it's about the entrapments. And when you read the Siege of Terror books, you understand that the reason why Dorn was the best one to lead it is because it's not about, because Guilliman cares too much, whereas Dorn, because he was able to cut off and be like, okay, we need to have men over here because they need to distract this part of the wall that is not defensible. And they need, in that cold calculating brain, Dorn was the best person for the Siege of Terror. Yeah.
Okay, so are we going in the middle at Legendary then?
Legendary, yeah.
Top of Legendary, I think, above Corvus, not Corvus, above Jaghatai Khan, in my opinion.
Oh, no, I mean, I was already...
Absolutely.
No,
he absolutely does, because of how competent he is, and arguably how strong he is, and more and the funny thing is as well is that there's a conversation between him and Khan about how he realizes how he has to be more flexible and learn more from Jaghatai Khan about in terms of being loose, in terms of being flexible in the moment and stop being so rigid.
Exactly, he needs to learn from the Khan, so he's going behind the Khan in Legendary. You said God tier, I said pretty good. We're going in the middle with Legendary, but I
think he's more than Jaghatai Khan in my opinion.
Well, James, what are you?
Why does that have to come to me?
Yeah.
If we're talking about terms of importance, impact, and achievement, Dorn all the way. And if we're talking about aesthetic, then that's an argument.
I was going to say, yeah, if you're trying to get me on his ability to put up a wall, then yeah, it's not that great. But if we're going off
it's easy to make anything sound stupid, you know that, right?
No, but okay, off aesthetic, okay?
Yeah.
We've got Space Wolves, they're Vikings, and then we have Yellow Space Marines. They're the Kimberly
Yellow and black.
They're the Kimberly of the Power Rangers. They're not that important.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, then by that argument, Bumblebee from Transformers is exactly the same if you're putting that argument out there.
I mean,
That's
he's not
cool.
as
I don't like Bumblebee.
Yeah, me either.
Bumblebee's also.
You both suck, you know that, right? Bumblebee is the best one out of all of them.
Ratchet is.
Yeah, true. I'll take that, yeah. okay, fine. We'll talk about this later. Yeah.
We're not doing a Transformers tier list. Well, James, do you think he's cooler than the car?
I don't. I truly don't. And this is not being biased or jaded or anything like that. I just think that the Vikings are a better aesthetic than.
Oh no, they're the Mongol.
Oh yeah,
they're the Mongols with the war bikes, and they're all in.
Oh, they're the bikey dudes. Okay,
yeah. And so
even still,
they carve a scar into their face to show their dedication to the Legion.
It's
And
still yellow space.
You know, I
marines,
could rattle off
folks.
just as many cool things about that Imperial Fist.
but it's also not about the Legion. We're talking Primarch only.
Yeah,
As you just say that, you just said that about the about the Legion.
I know, but
Rattles thinks something off about the Legion. Yeah, we're not talking about the Legion.
no, I was correcting myself because we shouldn't be judging it off the Legion.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Khan, the Khan,
Khan is Genghis Khan,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
Dorn is a certified brickie.
pretty much an autistic.
No, he's
Ricky.
not. No, he's not. That is a stupid reductionist argument. But
All right,
we're going to move on from this.
Yeah, we're making Blake really mad, but he is.
It is
still-
because I don't think you listen to me.
No, we are, and he is still in legendary. You know, he is in the second
Hmm.
highest tier. It's not like we're putting him mid or even
Mm.
pretty good. He is
Mhm.
still legendary, and we are stirring you a little bit, but I do think that the Khan is just like a little bit cooler than Dawn.
Let's settle it this way. Let the comments decide.
Yeah, comments decide, and then we can change it in the next episode.
Well, that's easy. There's not many
Maybe.
Imperial Fist fans.
Oh, true.
Fortify the comments, my boys. So, again, moving on to the next one. 7, 8's Corvus Core, not Corvus, fucking Conrad Kurz, and then 9 is, here we go, Sanguinius.
Is he the
James,
blood
you
angel?
first.
He's the blood angel.
He's the,
Yeah.
he's the Blangles, yep.
I mean, vampire. So like, there's something.
Vampire Angel.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I again don't know a ton about.
My opinion, personally, of Sanguinius has changed so much after reading the Echoes of Eternity book, because not only does it go through Sanguinius during the Siege of Terra, but it also goes through him meeting his Legion for the first time, and it's a genuinely beautiful exchange. But what do you know of Sanguinius so far, James?
Bangles. I know that he's a blood angel and that he's a vampire. I know that he died. Like,
Taking on Horus.
taking on Horus. I mean, Horus is my dude, so like that's already not a great look for him.
Well, Horus kicked his ass.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't know too much about the Bangles and the Dangles.
So he can see the future.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. It's kind of cool. He's pretty good at fighting. He's not like top tier fighting, but he's pretty good.
I wouldn't say he's one of the best duelists, but I would say he's up there in top 5 because of his foresight and because his wings can turn into steel.
He must be
duelist.
pretty good to take on like Horus. Like even though
Mind you, he took on Horus after taking on Titans and then taking on a demon called Kalbanda, one of the biggest boys of Khorne's boys, and then taking on an entire army and not defeating them, but holding them back at the last gate of Echoes of Eternity. So he ran himself ragged before he met Horus. And Horus was already souped on juice as well and didn't fight at all up until that point.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like he must be pretty decent to go up against Horus, even though he didn't, he died, but it's still like I
know.
Mid, maybe pretty good. Bottom are pretty good. Mid, like that's just from me. I don't think he's cringe. Like he's not an iron hand.
I think his personality is cringe, but I have to give it to him. He's got a few things that sell him. He is kind of cool. He can see the future. I would put him in mid or pretty good.
Yeah.
Personally, legendary or pretty good because of the he genuinely loves his Legion. There's a moment in the Siege of Terra books that just happened where this Titan had one of his Blood Angels in there, like speared to the Titan's palm, and then they were just about to crush the palm and kill the Blood Angel. And then Sanguinius told the Skitarii sniper to take him out before it happened. And the Skitarii asked in skip code, "Why'd you ask me to do that?" And he's like, "Because I didn't want him to suffer." What's wrong with you?
But off that justification, you could say the same thing about all of the Primarchs except for Kurz, and say the exact same thing, and maybe Alpharius and Omegon.
Okay.
Maybe
Well, here's something else. Here's something else you may not know. The Revenant Legion, which is what the Blood Angels were before they found Sanguinius. The Revenant Legion were basically like, imagine the most murderous vampires. Like they actually had a worse reputation than the Night Lords and World Eaters. They then met Sanguinius, and Sanguinius took the time to learn all 7,000 of their names, before he actually spoke to all of them in a speech. He committed every single one of their faces to memory. He genuinely cares about his boys.
Kind of easy to do when you have, telekinetic power, powers where you can see the future. Yeah.
He didn't. Yeah, but the thing is, he didn't need to do that.
No, but I would say he doesn't even care about his boys as much as like Vulkan does.
Yeah, but who does? Vulcan's the expectation, though. I would argue that it goes Vulcan, Sanguinius, and then Khan.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
So I would either say legendary or pretty good.
I would say pretty good.
I reckon, yeah, I want to put him in mid, but we can go pretty good.
I mean, put him above the Lion. What do you think?
He's Angel from Buffy.
Yeah, a little bit cooler than the Lion.
Because, the problem is that his character was always slated to be the sacrificial Jesus character.
But he's also like a pompous dick.
That's your opinion of him, though. Not everybody feels that way.
His personality is shit.
Sure. I don't think so.
He's dead. Stop kicking him.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. Leave Sanguinius.
He's already dead.
Yeah.
The next one will be an easy one. Number 10, Ferrus Manus.
Yeah.
Cringe.
Yeah, cringe.
Yeah.
Like clockwork. Or in this case, machine.
Yeah,
Again, I don't know. I personally don't know that much about him apart from what's in the Fulgrim book. But you've read more, haven't you?
I have. I read a short story about him, and he is a belligerent loser. Also, he has, utter disrespect to humans. He also has, a temper that almost rivals Angron's, and goes to kill, his own, space marines almost as often as Angron, but without any actual justification, because he doesn't have butcher's nails. He's actually just a piece of shit.
And here I was about to say that we have to justify some comments, because some people were saying that we're a bit too harsh on him, but
I'd argue we're not harsh enough on him enough.
I'll take that comment back.
He's not even interesting. Steel is stronger than flesh. Flesh is weak.
Mm-hmm.
The short story that I read, basically, some elder Farseers try to warn him about the heresy. They warn him, and he's like, "Ha, filthy scum, Xenos," and kills them anyway, and then it just comes back. But he basically left all his boys alone. And even when Vulcan or Mortarion offered him help, because he was the last one to find the special artifacts that they were trying to find, he was just getting angry that he wasn't as good as his brothers, and just really annoyed, and basically was march the Astra Militarum until they die in the desert. I don't care about them. Leave them behind if you have to. We have to find this, otherwise you're making me look bad to my brothers. Fucking dumbass.
Sounds like a little bitch boy.
He is a little bitch boy.
Mm.
That's my justification for him being cringe. Everything I've read about him, he's just a bit of a piece of shit.
My problem is that the thing is with every Primarch is that I always try and find something redeemable about them, or something that at least I can or
justify.
Whether it's part of this, their aesthetic, or whether it's part of their interactions. But the problem is that I genuinely have not heard anything that I like about Ferrus Manus.
I mean,
the only thing maybe is his relationship with Fulgrim, but even then, that's not enough to redeem him, in my opinion.
No, the only thing I like about Ferrus Manus is when he gets his head cut off.
Yeah. Well, that fight was beautiful.
It was a good fight.
That was a great fight, and it was a beautiful Greek tragedy, seeing it from both Fulgrim and his perspective.
I don't even like Fulgrim, and I was rooting for Fulgrim.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
With his head.
And that's the thing is that we can't put Ferrus in both lame and cringe, but I wish we could.
Yeah, because he is both.
Exactly.
But yeah, all right. So now moving on from Ferrus Manus.
11 is not.
Why don't you just combine lame and cringe, since no one's going to go in lame? Just remove that tier.
That's actually a good point. We should combine it to one, I think.
Lame and cringe.
Yep, there we go. That makes it a bit easier. I think 5's enough.
5's good.
So we got 11, which is not known. 12 is Angron. 13, your boy Guilliman.
Guilliman. Alright, now it's my turn to get shit on by you two.
Oh no, I would never debase myself like that. I'm better than you. But first things first, James. Basically, we've just had his Primarch episode.
Yep.
You've heard everything. You now probably know pretty much more about like him than most other Primarchs. Actually, what do you think?
Look,
Do you remember anything from the Guilliman episode?
yeah. I was gonna say originally I was pretty against them. I mean, I have a bunch of Space Marines. I was gonna paint them anything other than blue, just so that they weren't like boring blue. But he's not that bad. Like I mean, I like his mini. Like I like his figure. Like it's cool.
I would argue that he is cooler than the Ultramarines. And also, we haven't talked about Guilliman in 40k, which is even cooler than Guilliman in 30k.
Yeah, so from what we talked about of him in 30k, he is definitely cooler than the army. The army is dog.
That's what we were talking about before. Is that sometimes the Primarchs are better than the Legion, and sometimes the Legion's better than the Primarch.
Yeah,
I think I would rate Guilliman higher than I would the Ultramarines.
Yeah,
Nothing against the Ultramarines.
I can't
It's just
think of
boring.
a Legion where they're cooler than their Primarch.
Night Lords.
Oh, that's fair. Actually, yeah, no, that's fair. And maybe Thousand Suns.
I would say I was literally just about to say
Yeah.
that. Probably Emperor's Children as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
And World Eaters. A lot of them actually.
Oh, I have a bit of a soft spot for Angron, actually.
no,
but
Angron's cool.
Angron's cool, but
Yeah.
also Khan the Betrayer is cooler than him, so...
That was my reasoning, is that I like Khan more than I like Angron. But anyways, we'll get to him in a second.
Yeah.
So yeah, where would you rate Guilliman, James?
I would probably say either low legendary or high pretty good. That's just
I was literally just about to say the same thing. High, pretty good, or low legendary.
I would put him in Legendary.
From low legendary.
I mean, from being that he is like the most popular, you know, even though it's like shoved down your throat, but
I wouldn't say he's the most popular. I would say he's the most well known. It's probably the best way of saying
that's
it.
what I was most well known. Like he does have, you know, a lot of story that probably should go to some of the other Primarchs, but in saying that he's alright. He's
Alright, because neither of you have read the Dark Imperium series.
Yeah.
He-
Otherwise, I probably would rate him higher.
Yeah, well, so the reason that I would probably put him at the top of Legendary or the bottom of God tier is he comes back, sees the Imperium for what it's degraded into, proceeds to kill a whole bunch of bureaucrats, and re-establish all of everything. He's brought the Imperium back to where it not falling apart anymore. He's done a lot. He also battles super juiced Mortarion, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, but doesn't he almost die?
Almost dies, but then he actually bashes him all the way back to Nurgle's Garden. And I mean, I love Mortarion. He's my favorite
I was about
Primarch.
to say that must be a rough fight for you. That's your
Oh.
favorite Primarchs.
It was an awesome fight because Mortarion's about to kill him, and he gets all juiced up with Daddy's power and basically bats Mortarion back into the warp into Nurgle's Garden. He is really fucking cool, and especially in 40k when he has the Emperor's Sword, which actually perma-kills demons. He is also he cares a lot about his Legion, but about humanity as a whole more than anything else. He's done so much in 40k for the Imperium that I think he's actually cool. And he's just so interesting because basically he wakes back up, he goes to see dead dad in the chair, and basically he gets a bunch of words floating around his head that the Emperor's trying to say to him. And
Isn't it impressions, isn't it? Like psychic impressions?
Yeah, but it's Dad only saw us as weapons. This is if he could see what the Imperium is now, he would be absolutely distraught because of what it's become.
I would argue no. I would argue he does see it all.
Yeah, but this is Gilliman's opinion of it.
Oh, yeah, true.
But yeah, and he's just he basically gets called failure by his dad, and then proceeds to create a better Imperium than his dad ever did. Even in the darkness of the 40k. He also, because he was like dead for a while, he goes and he finds Manius Kelgar, who's also like a bit of a Chad, and he's like, "You did well, you did well," and Manius Kelgar's just like, "Oh no, where's the bus in this situation?" Guilliman's like, "But I would have handled this way," in regards to like Leviathan.
It's like, why do you wound me?
Yeah. But yeah, no, he's just really interesting. He's way more interesting in 40k than he is in 30k, and he, like the Lion, has like they're the only two that we have that have come back in 40k.
Also to point out as well, James, there's no book of them interacting yet, so that's yet to come.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So he and the Lion actually have the most recent lore for the Loyalists. So they basically have more lore than all the others, because Guilliman didn't get a lot of screen time in 30k.
Not really, no. He got the Calth books, and then that's about it as far as I know.
That's
from what I've
about
read.
it. Yeah, but in 40k he has done so much, and he's
Admittedly, it's easy to get all that lore and the spotlight when you're the only one that has it.
yeah. But also, I don't like the space elves, but he does have a hot Eldari waifu.
He doesn't, but yeah,
But he also has a human captain who like simps over him and calls him Roboute.
He does have a lot of nicknames. I'll give him that.
yeah, we went through the list. Go check out our shorts. Go check out our Guilliman episode.
Yeah. All right.
So you said bottom god tier. We said lower legendary. Would you be okay with mid legendary?
Yes, but here's where the argument's going to break out.
You're gonna put him in front of Dorn.
I'm going to put him in front of the Khan.
Here's the thing. I'd put him in front of Khan, but I wouldn't put him in front of Dorn because I believe Dorn should be in front of Khan. That's what I think.
All right, tiebreaker then, James. Where are we putting him in legendary?
Actually, I think about that. That's fine. I'm happy with that.
There.
There, in the middle.
Yeah.
All right, James has decided for us. I mean,
Yeah,
all
fuck-
three
fuck-
are
Fucking newbie.
All three are legendary. To be fair,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, if you had to put... Wait, should we ask this after the episode? But who is your favorite loyalist?
Me?
yeah.
Yeah, you. I don't think you've ever told us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say the Space Wolves. I've got his name already.
Russ.
Leman Russ. Out of all of them, like that would probably be the only army that I would specifically buy.
Oh no, we're talking about Primarch as a character.
Yeah, but I mean, that's who I would go for, is like the Viking aesthetic. So
Okay.
for that, like I said, I don't know a ton of his story, all that stuff. I don't
Basically, a Ragnar Lothbrok. It's essentially
Yeah.
that storyline.
That's totally it.
Without the whoring around because he can't have sex.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Cool.
Okay,
All right.
so 13, 14's Mortarion, 15's Magnus, 16's Horus, 17 is Lorgar, 18 Vulkan
Vulkan.
of the Salamanders.
This is
Oh.
interesting.
Yeah,
the
Salamanders are pretty good too.
The
Now, James,
big
where do you think?
hammer.
I like the dragon like
Motif.
aesthetic. Yeah, yeah, I do like.
I've just reached the point in the Echoes of Eternity book where him and Magnus are fighting each other. And it's super interesting because they
yeah.
meet each other in a psychic plane, and Magnus tries to present himself as like a humble sorcerer kind of outfit, and then Vulcan's there as like an old green dragon. And it's just really cool. And he's just like, "Can you stop with the fake persona that you're putting on?" And then he actually angers Magnus to the point where the reality breaks, and it shows Magnus in his demon form as how he actually is. And it's really interesting how Vulcan can goad him.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Vulcan is Kurz traps him on his ship and tortures him for like ages, puts him in this maze, and dangles his hammer in front of him, and he's like, "Oh, come and get your teleporter," because there's a teleporter in his hammer.
Oh.
Come get your teleporter. And Vulcan like gets to the hammer.
The problem is that there's a force field around the dome where that stops teleportation, so there's no point to it.
Yeah, And so then Curzon's like, ha, you can't teleport out. And Vulcan's like, yes, but you're forgetting one thing, brother. This is also a hammer. And then beats the
And then
shit out of
smacks him
him,
with it.
smacks him in the face with it.
And then throws Kurz into the field generator, and then that like allows him to teleport out.
Yeah. Which is
Oh.
absolutely badass.
Fucking goated.
I was gonna say it might be a bit late to mention this since we're like almost towards the end, but we probably should preface for people that haven't watched all of our stuff. I say that I like the dragons because I literally know nothing about Warhammer. Like, so I only know as of like Viking, dragon,
Yeah.
wolf,
Raven, sorcerer.
dead guy on the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Vulcan, to describe him a little bit more for you, James, he is known as like the kindest Primarch.
Like he came back after the Siege of Terror, saw Dorn was like distraught with what happened, and then Vulcan hugged him.
Yeah. But he also
No one hugs Dorn.
he's also a little bit sentimental, but he is a master craftsman.
Yeah.
Even some of the other Primarchs who also build weapons and like craft things, 'cause quite a few of them do. They criticize that his are too ornamental, but like he made like a specialty weapon for Fulgrim. He made a specialty weapon for Ferrus Manus, which actually saves Ferrus Manus's life in the short story I read. And he's like, oh, I must remember to thank my brother for this aid that he gave me, because he gave him a knife that basically would have been like a long sword to anyone else, but was a knife to him. And he killed a demon with that knife, and it saved his life.
Yeah. He makes weapons functional, but he also adds a lot of like the filigree and a lot of like cool sort of craftsmanship on top of that. Whereas, say for example, Ferrus Manus was like, okay, I've made a gun, it shoots. That's all of it. It's very minimalistic. Whereas Vulcan's very much the opposite, and it's all about the craftsman and making it look beautiful.
Yeah, and there's an interesting line too where Ferrus Manus asks them about like why it's like he criticizes them, says it's too ornamental, the knife, and Vulcan's like, I create weapons for the sons of a god, like essentially for the sons of a god. You know, we are like angels and like heroes in this war, and we should have weapons that reflect that. And it's like, oh, badass, yeah, hell yeah.
Isn't he also like, not to be like anti-PC or whatever? Isn't he the only black character?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Well,
just
he's not the only black character, but he's the only black Primarch.
black Primarch. I mean, yeah.
But like, it's not like a African American black. It's like ashen blood charcoal black,
Oh.
because it reflects. Because everybody on Nocturne
Yeah.
is that color, because they just turn that color by living in that sort of atmosphere, and then they all have blazing red eyes. They have like predator vision where they can see thermo, so they can see through it, and it sifts through the heat, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
And
So
he's the only other Primarch who, when the Emperor found him, had to do some like feats and challenges against the Emperor. And he almost beat the Emperor because they had to basically climb up a volcano and kill like one of these like dragons that lives on it. And he like almost fell into a pit, like almost got knocked into a pit by like a giant one after he killed his first.
Yeah.
And then
So he's holding onto the edge of the cliff, and then he's holding onto the dead drake as well. That's pulling him into the lava.
yeah, and the Emperor like stops to like help him. And
He throws his much larger drake into the lava and then runs across to help him.
Yeah, but Vulcan killed his first, and like basically they get back down, and Vulcan's got his, but he's like, even though technically I won, I will serve the Emperor.
Yeah, well, I will serve you, and then it revealed it to be the Emperor. It was great.
Yeah, because the Emperor's a bit of a trickster and doesn't really.
Well, he wants to see the hearts of his sons first before he,
No, not all of them. Some of them he
Not all
just
of them.
straight up revealed himself and was like, ha ha ha.
Depends on
And
the
make
Primarch.
all
It
the-
depends on what they saw first. Yeah.
Make all the humans bow to me, reveal my true power. I don't got
Sure.
time to talk to you. That's what he did. He did that to like one or two of them.
I'm a
Oh.
god, but I don't like religion.
He
Yeah.
never says I'm a god. Just to
No.
point that out.
He says,
Just
I'm not a
like it.
god, while he psychically blows
That's what I mean. He says I'm not a
50,000
god.
Space Marines.
You don't have to be a god to knock people down with psychic power.
Yeah,
He
you're deluded.
Anyways, James,
Vulcan.
where would you put Vulcan?
Yeah.
I would say legendary.
Yeah.
I would say legendary.
Yeah, I'm keen with legendary. If not god tier, to be honest. But I think we did the same thing with the legions, where we put both Space Wolves and Salamanders in the god tier.
You wanna be really annoyed?
What?
Front of Dorn.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think. I know a lot of
No,
people.
at least
I know. Okay, fine. I know that a lot of people like put Vulkan on a pedestal because he's the nice one, and that's why everybody like relates to him. But that's what I'm saying is that I don't like characters anymore in Warhammer just because they're good or kind or bad or evil, but it's because they're the most interesting.
Well, I
And
think
if we're going by
he's-
that, I think Vulkan's interesting, but not as interesting as the others.
I think he's more interesting. Like, I love Guilliman, and I like Dorn, but I do think Vulkan just has a more interesting, like, stick to him. He is like more interesting.
I
than
will
others.
say the immortality thing kind of brings it back down for me a bit.
Yeah, because, but he
he's
can't help
immortal.
that. He can't.
Vulkan's a perpetual where he will never die.
Oh.
Well, no, he dies. He just comes back.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So that's the thing is that when we were talking about the Death Watch episode, there was an orc that was actually a Krork, and he basically him and Vulkan blew each other up, and now he has not come back, and he's on his respawn timer.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're trying to find all these like his sons are trying to find all these relics, so that way they can try and bring him back. But you know, who knows where he is.
But you did also say bottom of god tier for Vulkan.
I was gonna say you did say
I personally think he's fine where he is, but like at the same time, I'm also okay with him being in god tier. But I think leave him there for the time being,
All right.
and we can figure that out later.
Yeah. All right.
Now we're on to the last loyalist.
Or second
Corvus
last.
No, I know you know what I mean. Corvus Corax. James, you first.
Raven dude.
Yeah, Raven God.
Yep. This is just going off like aesthetics, but his mini's pretty cool.
He doesn't have a mini.
Doesn't have. Oh, he has a 30k mini.
Yeah, he's got the Forge World one, but they all do.
Yeah, the Forge
No,
World one.
Oh, yeah.
I
You're
only know-
talking about what's his face? K-Van Shrike.
Oh, I was talking about the Forge World one.
Oh,
Yeah,
were you?
Forge World
Oh,
one.
yeah.
They all have a Forge World one.
Oh, yeah.
But he is badass.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
I would say bottom of God, top of legendary in terms of storytelling, interesting character, like tragic tale as well, and trying his best to look after his sons, and at the same time, I think it's the problem with the Leman Russ leaning into the aesthetic so much that it comes back around to being likable.
Yeah,
Isn't he like
I
a
agree
good-
with you.
the good Night Lord, basically?
Basically, he's more, instead of thinking more about like he's the assassin, he's the guerrilla fighter. He fights. His basically his world of deliverance was a autocratic world where it was like kind of like taken over by elites, and everybody who didn't like go along with the system was imprisoned. And Corvus Corax was raised in that prison by artists, poets,
Rebels.
rebellion agents, people that didn't agree with the system. And he was
They-
basically raised by philosophers and had to
Yeah.
hide in the darkness of his prison.
It was basically a slave world where like the 1% ruled over like the rest
Yeah.
of the population. I
Yeah, and then
agree
he-
with you, Blake. Though I would put him in god tier.
I'm personally okay with that. Like, the hard thing is that I actually think he is above Dorn, in my opinion, in terms of how interesting he is. But what do you think, James?
I don't have enough skin in the game to like.
Now we're talking Nightlords.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, God tier is yeah fine with me. Like I said, like the aesthetic, the assassins, the crows. Like he's got a bit of a Batman sort of look to him in the shadows. So yeah, I'm cool with God tier.
Oh, talk about this. He's also the Lion and Guilliman are not the only Primarchs that are known to be back. Corvus Corax is officially back. He just doesn't have a mini, and he's not in the main storyline. He chased Lorgar into the warp, and he went into his warp abilities, and now he's a demon bird chasing after him.
Yeah, it's pretty
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, imagine him with a giant demonic beak, like raven face with wings and everything like that. And he's
So-
hunting Lorgar in the warp.
so he wouldn't be if he's been
So imagine what that mini would look like.
yeah, but if he's been like cursed with the warp, wouldn't that make him a traitor? Leader?
No, because there's a difference between leaning into the chaos powers and being a warp being.
Yeah, but I thought anyone that messes with warp and warp fuckery. They, like in Space Marine 2, like they made old mate go into the Death Guard because they thought he was messing.
No. So that's two different things. So Titus went into the Death Watch because he was saving penance because he touched a chaos item.
Oh,
and
chaos.
he didn't die.
Gotcha.
Whereas like librarians and psychers use warp powers. They don't use chaos, they use warp powers.
Gotcha. I was confusing with chaos powers.
Yeah, but also, the rules that apply to Space Marines don't always apply to Primarchs either, because they are sons
That's
of
true,
the
yeah.
Emperor.
Yeah.
I just assumed because he'd gone like demonized, like that was like, you know.
No, that's actually a point between the word bearers and the Lorgar, is that they're like, that's not a agent of chaos, that's a warp being. He's like a chaos manifest, not a warp manifested sort of creature.
Yeah, it's a fine line how they've done it.
Yeah, it's like the same. The best way to put it is all chaos energy is warp related, but not all warp energy is chaos related. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
The warp is the sea, and the chaos regions are like the little bits of it, like their own little kingdoms.
Yeah. Okay.
But now we have the last Loyalist Primarch, Alpharius and Omegon.
Yeah.
The twins.
The twins, the spies. Alright, so I've been warming up to them because I
Why?
read a short story
Why?
or two that they are actually really interesting.
Oh, they're interesting. But
Very
that's
interesting.
about it.
And they have a cool aesthetic, and I kind of like their shtick, even though their stories can be... Their stories are kind of
Convoluted, confusing, and boring.
not boring, but definitely...
Convoluted.
no, it's not even convoluted. I would say that they intentionally leave out a lot of details to keep the surprise. It's kind of like a murder mystery
Mhm.
slash like spy novel. They are like the deep cover CIA double agents, like that kind of story.
Mhm.
And they are quite interesting.
Here's the thing: the only thing that's interesting thing about them is that is the mystery behind them, and that's it.
No,
That's personally what I think.
I think that even their interactions with their like legion, the interactions with other legions, even like how they interact together. Because in the short story, you actually hear a conversation between Alpharius and Omegon, and
Yeah.
it was actually like it had me gripped. It was really
Yeah,
interesting.
don't get me wrong. I've read stories with them as well, especially with Praetorian of Dorn, where Alpharius dies to Dorn. But that exchange is very interesting. The relationship that they have with their sleeper agents and how they're like in their sleep mode for like decades before the Horus Heresy, and then on top of that, like how they interact with their human agents as well. Super interesting too, like a James Bond sort of thing. But again, that's about as far as it goes for me in terms of what they have going for them. Like I like the scale armor, and I
Yeah.
love the whole sniper aesthetic, but that's about it for
Yeah.
me personally.
So I was gonna say pretty good above the Blangles and Dangles.
Mhm.
What were you guys thinking?
Mid, I can't see them being higher than Lion or Sanguinius in my opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same, like mid.
Because if we're talking about like, for example, achievements and everything like that, I would say they're all pretty even in that regard. But I would say, in terms of depth storytelling, the Lion and Sanguinius outrank them in that regard.
Nah, Alpharius steals the gene seed for all 20 Primarchs and then gives it to the Emperor's children, or gives it to Horus, who gives it to the Emperor's children. Like,
It doesn't really matter to me that much, to be honest. Like, it's like, okay, I can see
Isn't
that.
that a bad thing?
Oh, super
No,
bad, but I'm like,
that's how we got the clone of Horus, and how Abaddon got
Mm.
his whole, like...
that's how Fabius Bile started cloning all the Primarchs.
Yeah, and,
Yeah,
and then
that's
that's
what I
when
mean, isn't
Abaddon
that a-
had his badass moment where he goes and he kills all of the clones.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, super cool on their part, but I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not trying to downgrade their effectiveness of what they do, because what they do, they're very good at.
Yeah.
But it's just also like, I'm thinking more about like what they achieve, their aesthetic, and their storyline and their depth. And I just think when it comes to storyline and depth, I find them lacking because they have to lean into their shtick. They can't have too many stories about them.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that ruins the mystery part.
All right. Well, I would put them in pretty good, but we can put them in mid. I will concede to that, even though I think they're higher. But I think that's
see that
pretty.
as well.
I think that's a pretty good like. I think.
Yeah, I'm actually surprisingly okay with this list. I personally would have Lion a little bit higher. Obviously, I would have Dorn in front of Guilliman, but that's just my personal thing. But aside from that, I'm actually pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
What would you personally change, James and Corbin?
I don't see anything that I would. The only thing I'd probably do is like maybe move the White Scar dude up to bottom of God tier, but that's probably it.
I would be leaning towards that too, but then I feel like if I put the Khan up there, then Vulkan would probably be up there too.
That's what I was thinking too. And then on top of that, like the other two would move forward as well. I personally think Khan is not in God tier. I would say Vulkan should actually be in front of Khan, in my opinion.
That's a tough one for me because I like them both, but I think
I like them both. I like them both too. And I know you like them both more than I do, but I like them both too. But I just see Vulkan being a bit more important in terms of impact, achievements, aesthetic, and like depth as well. But then again, also Khan is also interesting as well, and he's done a lot too. So yeah,
I don't know enough of their like story and stuff to.
But how about we leave it there for now?
No, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I mean, it could definitely move in the
when we go into chaos, as we did last time.
Chaos. Yeah.
But you guys will have to stick around for our next episode where we rank all of the chaos.
Tune in next week for the next episode where we get into chaos. Please let us know in the comments section what you think we should change, or if you think what your personal ranking would be. If we've slandered any of your Primarchs, good. It sustains me. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. Please keep up that algorithm, and so that way the algorithm gods can be nice to us. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you next week for the chaos list.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
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 For the glory of chaos!